Good evening, everyone. The United States of America has grown to be one of the strongest and powerful nations in the world. It was first founded by the 7 key founding fathers who over 200 years ago shook off the chains of tyranny from Great Britain by signing the Declaration of Independence, which clearly stated the purpose of this nation, with liberty and justice for all. However, if our founding fathers were alive today, what would they think of America? Surely they'll be proud to say that America now stretches from the Atlantic to the Pacific Ocean and has built one of the most amazing cities the world has ever seen. They'll be proud to say that the nation that they created has become the greatest economic machine in the history of the world. And they'll be absolutely astounded by other things, such as the internet and interstate highway systems that we have created. But there are quite a number of things that they'll be quite horrified about as well, such as the fact that the United States government has accumulated the greatest debt in human history. And they'll be astounded that the place where they created for Americans to be free to pursue life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness has become so tightly regulated and controlled that Americans dare not even speak without the permission of the federal government. George Washington would be displeased to hear that his words of his farewell address became true when he said political parties would create the greatest division between Americans, just as we are seeing nowadays. Just like George Washington warned against the dangers of political parties, the founding fathers also warned Americans about the dangers of imperialism. Thomas Jefferson, one of our most famous founding fathers, once stated, "If there is one principle more deeply rooted than any other in the minds of every American, it is that we should have nothing to do with conquest." For decades, America has followed an agenda of endless war and has maintained a massive military empire, one that stretches across the globe to protect America's vital resources. These founding fathers would be horrified to see that America has become a society in which Americans commit many forms of violence against his fellow Americans. They'd be also horrified to see that America now has become the most violent of the developed nations of the world. These great patriots of the past would find it hard to understand that America is also the greatest threat to world peace. They would be horrified to see what has happened to the country that they worked so hard to create. Needless to say, the founding fathers would not understand many of the institutions or many of the advanced technologies that we have today. But certainly, they will be able to understand how far we have risen as a nation, how far we have fallen as a nation, and how far we have strayed away from the fundamental principles that they enshrined in our founding documents. The United States is a much different place than what it was in 1776. But even though, if many of the advances that we see today are for the better, some unfortunately are for the worse. Thank you.
Thank you, Noel, for that graduation speech. Now, I humbly welcome